Sree Mr. K. Shashi Kumar gave us such a warm welcome address. Faculty, teachers, parents, students, and friends. I hope that covers everybody. എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ നമസ്കാരം. പക്ഷേ ഇന്നത്തെ പരിപാടി ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലാണെന്ന് എന്നോട് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. So I will make my remarks in English. I believe we have a little interaction afterwards where you can ask in English or Malayalam as you wish. Today I've been invited on a very happy and auspicious occasion, which is the 25th anniversary, the Silver Jubilee of the Kids World School. To my mind, the 25th anniversary is always a major milestone to celebrate. Whenever we start a new institution, getting it going is the challenge. Surviving for the first 5 or 10 years is often the most difficult. But thereafter, the first truly landmark moment is the Silver Jubilee. And I want to congratulate everybody associated with this pre-primary school Kids World for their achievements in bringing this institution 25 years into the future. I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate the Sree Narayana Educational Society, which was established back in 1986. It's wonderful that 37 years later, you have so many remarkable accomplishments that even institutions of much longer heritage cannot boast. You have IAS officers, IPS officers, IIT professors, and today we learned about the achievements of Nahan Fatima and Dia Rubaya, who have brought glory to all of us through their extraordinary marks. And remember, these are national level examinations, so they are competing with the best in our country. Congratulations to them, and congratulations to the school for having produced children who can achieve such a high benchmark nationally. The topic that I've been invited to address is the topic of the current education scenario in Kerala, and with particular reference to global benchmarking standards. Now, this is a complicated issue, because when we speak about education, we are simultaneously speaking about school education and higher education. I know the Sree Narayana Education Society is involved in both. Have distinguished themselves by producing students of the highest quality. And in school education, by and large, it is fair to say that Kerala probably would rank number 1 in the whole of India, even ahead of such schools in our capital city of Delhi, or in our big cosmopolitan metropolitan cities like Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, and so on. We would probably hold our own with them when it comes to the quality of our governmental public schooling. So that is something that we can be very proud of. What should I then complain about when it comes to reference to global standards at the school level? I would say that the principal problem we have, and from what I gather, because I was a student at school more than 50 years ago, I passed out of my schooling 52 years ago, and I recognize there has been some change and some progress since then. But by and large, what I hear when I talk to students and I talk to teachers is that we are still stuck in a somewhat old-fashioned method of teaching, which consists of preparing students for examinations. The ultimate yardstick by which schools and parents judge their school's education is the marks in the final examinations. And that has been a besetting problem in India, which was already a problem. When I was in school, I happened to be inconveniently good at passing examinations, so I came first in everything, which is not something that I look back upon as a true mark of educational excellence. Because as Einstein famously said, true education is what is left in your head when you have forgotten everything you studied for the examinations. But in our system, we still emphasize the examinations a lot. And the result of that is that a lot of our students are not encouraged to question the teachers. Instead, they are obliged to study what is in the textbook, what the teacher teaches, and to regurgitate this when it comes to writing the examinations. Now this was actually a flawed system even half a century ago when I was studying. But it is particularly out of date today because the world of the 21st century is a world which has moved well beyond what we can get through filling our minds with the preconceived wisdom that can be found in textbooks and in our classrooms. The truth of the matter is, we don't need a well-filled mind anymore. In today's world, whatever we don't remember because we didn't study our textbooks too hard, we can find out with 2 clicks of a mouse on Google. So, it's not a well-filled mind we need. What we need is a well-formed mind. And what is a well-formed mind? It is a mind that can deal with unfamiliar facts and information, that can grapple with challenges it has not faced before. A mind that is capable of instinctively understanding how to study issues even if they have not been encountered in a textbook or in a classroom lecture. Instead of asking only why, you should also be able to ask why not? Why would something not be different from the way it is like this? And a good teacher should be able to explain why it is not possible rather than saying, silence, it's in the textbook, don't have to ask these questions, just study what's in the textbook. That answer is not good enough. There's a trivial example I often like to give about the value of the box thinking. People like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs famously say that what they value in employees they hire is out-of-the-box thinking. We ask, what is out-of-the-box thinking? And one example I can give you is something that I myself am aware. Or if I really want to see something in the far distance. Otherwise, I don't need my glasses. So 95% of the time I don't wear my glasses. I have them, but I don't wear them. But the problem, of course, is what do I do when I'm not wearing them? I may shove them into a pocket, I may put them somewhere on the table, I may drop them and accidentally step on them. And the problem with this used to be that I remember one year, I think it was 2013, in the first 3 months of the year, I lost or broke 6 pairs of glasses. My friend said, what's the problem? Why is this happening? I said, very simple. For 150 years, glasses have been made only one way. They sit on your nose and they hang on your ears. And I find that deeply uncomfortable. So I don't like to wear them. And that's why I take them off and that's why I do them regularly. He said, you're right, for 150 years, glasses have only been one way. Let me find out. There might be a solution to your problem. And a few weeks later, he came back with what I'm now wearing around my neck. And that's very simple. The concept is great. It hangs around your neck. You don't need to find a pocket for it, or a table, or put it in your lap, or drop it somewhere. It's there all the time. And when you need it, you use it. So here I am. I'm talking to you. I don't need glasses. But I want to see who's standing at the back of the room. This is what I can do. There are 2 magnets that click the glasses together. I can see, although it's the person in the back, I can undo it and I can go on with my normal head. It's a simple solution, but it's because somebody asked why not. Somebody didn't keep on saying why not. How do you make glasses? You like this, you have lenses in front of the eyes, you have a bridge for the nose, you hang them over your ears. 150 years everybody don't need that. Somebody then got the right idea, I think it was Italy, to do it this way, and it changed life for me and for many others. In the Foreign Service in those days, and it was only after those first top 8 that you would get the IAS and the IPS and the Revenue Service and all the others. The IFS was the prestigious service in those days. You had to be in the top 10 in the country to get the Foreign Service. And literally every year, there would be at least 1, if not 2, products of universities in Kerala who would make it to the top 10. Many of them went on to have distinguished careers as illustrious diplomats for India. Today, not just today, but for the last 25, 30 years, we don't have that anymore. And the problem is, if we look at the global standards, we are slipping. We are slipping on simple things like articulation and communication in English, which is increasingly necessary in a globalized world, where all of us will have to function in languages other than our mother tongue, where to deal with customers, consumers, with clients, clients, with companies, we need to have a strong second language, which usually for most of the world is English. You don't have to be perfect or fluent in English. You just have to have it as a good second language, because you'll be talking to a German or a Swede or a Frenchman, for whom also English is a second language. But that second language proficiency, we seem to have lost to a great extent. And that's something which I hear from employers in particular, that the products of Kerala universities may be sound on paperwork, they can do their engineering exams and their courses well and so on, but sitting in an office environment, they are uncomfortable conversing with colleagues, conversing with bosses, conversing with clients. And this becomes a genuine challenge for Kerala. One more thing we need to do. The other problem with higher education is the level of resources that's being offered. I'm talking particularly about the public sector, the government colleges, which are quite dominant in many ways in our state. You know, there was a recent report of Higher Education Reforms Commission. I was rather happy with that because it was my idea in the manifesto of the UDF to propose that we should establish a Higher Education Reforms Commission to diagnose the problems facing our higher education and resolve them. But unfortunately, the UDF didn't win the elections. The LDF did, but they accepted this idea and they declared a Higher Education Reforms Commission. One concern that I have is I don't know how realistic some of their ideas are. They want to raise the budget 12% every year till 2035. Now, we're in a situation where Kerala is technically bankrupt. The government is not in a position to raise the budget. They're only raising our taxes. We are paying more for everything, for our land values, for our petrol, for our diesel, for our cooking gas. The Ministry of Human Resource Development, when I was minister, I discovered that the catechism that everyone was using was 3 E's: expansion, equity, and excellence. Expansion of the number of education institutions and colleges throughout the country to cater to our growing population. Equity meaning access for people who have been denied access to education either because of gender or because of caste or because of where they live, tribal areas, that kind of thing. And almost as an afterthought, excellence. But excellence, frankly, is not widespread. A lot of our world-class institutions like the IITs, the IIMs, and so on, are islands of excellence in a sea of mediocrity. And so I added a 4th E to the catechism. I said there should be a 4th E, and that is employability. We must produce young people from our higher education who are in a position to work in jobs. We did a survey through the business organization, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and they told us that 82% of Indian employers are unhappy with the quality of college graduates they are getting applied for jobs. That's very worrying. I have to tell you that the figures are not very different today from what I understand, from what they were 10 years ago when I found this out. And with such a large problem, we're looking at a situation where companies like TCS, the Tata Consultancy Services, or Infosys, have chosen to set up full-fledged campuses. TCS is in Tharoor-Speech, Infosys is in Mysore, where they are giving remedial education. This is not on-the-job training, this is education that they are giving to the graduates they have already hired, so that they can actually know what they should have known in university. Which means that our universities are not teaching adequately, they are not conveying adequately what needs to be known by a young person entering the job market today. And this becomes extremely serious, because we're looking at a situation where we are producing a large number of graduates, but most of them are unready for the challenges of the professional world. In fact, the organization that I head in the Congress Party, the All India Professionals Congress, did a survey in Kerala of engineering graduates. Engineering graduates who are now employed in Kerala were asked a survey question. 66% of engineering graduates are today in jobs that do not require an engineering degree. Which means that the engineering degrees they work so hard for are essentially worthless because they're not good enough degrees to get them jobs that require engineering expertise. And they're doing other kinds of jobs as a result. I mentioned the Oxford market study, the 30% of the jobs being new jobs. This is a profoundly serious challenge. Already, a number of the jobs that people might have been able to look forward to at the time that they entered high school have become irrelevant by the time they leave high school. Artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, sound recognition, voice recognition, technologies are moving so fast. I'll give you two examples of what the challenges are because they wanted me to talk about global benchmarks and then I will stop. You know that at one point there was a profession called medical transcription at which India excelled. This became possible when all the fiber optics cables were laid in the 90s. And suddenly what happened was American doctors who would see their patients during the day in America and then have to dictate their note to a secretary, pay her overtime, then she would type them up in a day or two, then they would be typing mistakes, then they would have to be corrected, all of that, and they would have to pay high salaries to the secretary, give them leave and medical benefits and everything else. These doctors suddenly found a new solution. They would dictate their notes into the computer, the notes would be zinged over to India. When the doctors went to sleep in America, bright young people would wake up in India and type up these notes. And when the doctor came back to work the next morning, without losing any time, all his patient notes were there, he could quickly review them. These were all students with some pre-medical education, so there were very few mistakes. It was a wonderful success. So medical transcription became a sunrise industry, became a growing profession in the beginning of the 21st century. And there were companies mushrooming. India was a big success story because 90 to 95% of the medical transcription business in the world was cornered by India. And then what happened? What happened very simply was that technology overtook human capacity. What happened was that voice recognition technology became so good that for the purchase of one piece of software, a doctor could speak into his computer and see his notes coming up on the screen in front of him accurately as he was saying them. And the result was he no longer needed to send his notes overnight to India. He no longer needed to pay even a lower rate for a company in India to do his medical transcription. The second example is also from the medical field. MRIs, magnetic resonance imaging, very sophisticated form of studying inside of your body, more sophisticated than X-rays. MRIs require radiologists to read them. There are not enough radiologists in America. So the big fancy hospitals in America, they would actually have these MRIs sent by the internet to radiologists in India who would read them, give the interpretation, the explanation, the diagnosis. That would be then sent back to all the qualified radiologists in America needed to do. But the ones in India are not qualified to practice in America. So all they needed to do was to read the notes of the Indian radiologists, approve them, and the job was done. Again, a big business, terrific success. Indian radiologists were making lots of money. Everyone was very happy. And then what happened? Again, artificial intelligence came. And now artificial intelligence can read MRIs faster and more accurately than the Indian radiologists or even the American radiologists. So what happens to this function now? Are radiologists' jobs going to be deeply affected? And yet they are. We in India, maybe not yet, because we don't have that much artificial intelligence capacity. But in America, they're not going to be eager to issue visas to foreign radiologists anymore because an AI machine will do it for them. Now, I mention these examples to you young people because you should be aware this is the world in which you are growing up. These are the kinds of challenges you have to face. I always stress that in life, it is not enough to just study a STEM subject, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. I think it becomes extremely important for all of you to be able to also have a broader vision of life, study some humanities. I suggested in IIT once that humanities. So the engineers also have a broader humane vision of society and civilizational challenges. Literature, the arts, all of this is important for everyone to understand. I've been told that I'm running out of time, so I'm going to stop here. But as you can see, we need to really shake up our higher education in Kerala if we are to match the standards that the globe is setting everywhere else, and that will be necessary for our young people to meet if they are going to go ahead and face the world of the 21st century. I'd like to thank once again the Sree Narayana Society for inviting me. I want to congratulate all of you on the very remarkable work within 7 or 8 educational institutions that you have set up in this district and beyond. I want to congratulate all those who have made such efforts and sacrificed so much to create these standards of excellence. And I wish you great success, not just for the Silver Jubilee and beyond of the tiny top schemes, but also of the high schools, the colleges, the technical institutions. And I think even the Ayurveda college has come, lots of progress needs to be made, but we must keep our eye open for the extreme importance of constantly challenging ourselves to improve our standards as we benchmark ourselves against the globe. Good luck to all of you, warm congratulations, and Jai.
My name is Aryan of class 12 in Sree Public School. Sir, you talked about the importance of communicating in English and how our institutions are falling behind on all of that. But it has been proven that people who learn things in their own mother tongue tend to be more successful. And if you look at it from a global perspective, countries like Germany, Japan, or even China, none of the people there know English. All the computers, all the science, it's their mother tongue. But these economies are among the top 5 largest in this world. How do you explain that?
The fact is, when you say none of the people know English, that's not true. In every one of these countries, English is the principal second language. And while you can function in your mother tongue, in the area where your mother tongue is spoken, you are not able to function against the global benchmarks unless you are able to communicate in a second language. So if you find, for example, that a Chinese is dealing with a German company to acquire some engineering machinery, for example, they are talking to each other in English. In fact, there was quite an astonishing fact when the Germans and the French were both very proud of their language. When their heads of state met, it was discovered they were talking to each other in English because the German Chancellor didn't know French and the French Prime Minister didn't know German, but they both knew English in the same language. So we have been saddled with the curse of colonialism. I am not a fan of the colonialism, as you all know. But the one side benefit we got from that is that we have access to the English language, English books, English education. We should not throw away that advantage because, as I said, it's not a substitute for our mother tongue. You can certainly do your principal learning there, but it should be a good, competent second language so you can hold your own with the rest of the world and compete with the rest of the world, as well as communicate with the rest of the world in what is also their second language. That's it. So they are teaching English also as a second language, but a very high quality second language.
But the Chinese tend to code and all in Chinese too, rather than English.
Yeah, and particularly areas like politics, internal administration, and local businesses, one called in Chinese. No question about it. And similarly in Kerala, most of our daily life is conducted in Malayalam. Our newspapers are in Malayalam, our media is in Malayalam, our work environment is often in Malayalam. But the moment you have a client who is not in Malayalam, what do you do? The moment you are trying to sell your product or purchase something or recruit it from some other state or some other country, but let alone some other country, from another state, you need another language. The Hindi walas will tell you it doesn't have to be English, it can be Hindi. But at least you need a second language. You cannot survive only by knowing one language. That's it.
My name is Sree and I'm from class 10. So like the migration for employment, today we find the youth in Kerala choosing to go abroad for higher education as well. So while this is
That's right. I despair when I hear that every student I talk to tells me their ambition is to go abroad for higher education, and as you rightly say, most of them have no intention of coming back. I remember one young man was quite hurt when I said, why don't you want to stay in Kerala? And he said, what is there in Kerala for us young people? Isn't Kerala now an old age home? That was the kind of very blunt language I got from a young man not very long ago. And for me, that is certainly a failure on our part. We should be able to offer you top quality education. I have said, for example, that one more issue that is missing in this higher education reform report is that there is no provision for doing what the national education policy is suggesting, which is opening up to tie-ups with foreign universities, allowing foreign universities to establish campuses in India, or even to collaborate with Indian colleges, where they can have some courses, some teachers, and offer a joint degree, for example. So that Indian children don't need to go abroad. Indian parents don't need to spend their money or take loans to send their children abroad to get the same quality of education there. And the second thing is, of course, we need to change our economic approaches so we create more opportunities for investors in Canada. When I was in charge of the UDF's manifesto in the 2021 edition, I actually proposed very strongly that we should have in Canada the Investor Protection Act. Because in every state in the country, sadly, we hear reports of farmer suicides. But Kerala is the only state in the country where we have businessmen suicides because of the losses they incur when they try to start something. So many people have personally tried to persuade people to invest in Kerala. People don't want to touch it. They feel they'll be too vulnerable to political and other challenges. So my message is we need to really create an enabling environment that will attract businesses to come to Kerala and set up there so we can offer exciting jobs in the 21st century to people graduating from Kerala. People, unfortunately, do not want to stay on for two reasons. First is the quality of education at a higher education level, and secondly, job opportunities, both of which they say are better abroad. If we can give those opportunities here, I'm convinced that other people will stay. That's what I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, in a recent series published by the Narayana newspaper, they said that there was a third reason why people did not choose to stay here because of the social atmosphere. So, what do you think our mindset should change?
They come back here and they become frauds on the web. They need to also see the very qualities of life they enjoy abroad, and they're really happy to go there too. They should be the ones trying to create that same environment in India, but they don't. I think we need to change all that here in Kerala.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Principal of college. Nice to meet you.
Okay, good evening, sir. Your lecture was wonderful. It's really thought-provoking and enlightening.
Thank you.
Sir, you mentioned regarding the higher education system, the quality of the education in, especially in Kerala. Okay, and higher education institutions are the laboratories which produce future citizens of a state. The quality of the nation depends on the quality of such institutions. Do you think that by providing quality education to our students, we can go by transforming India into a knowledge superpower? We can reduce the brain drain and resource drain from Kerala. Nowadays, you refer that many students are going abroad for getting good education. But in reality, they are going outside and they are doing some menial jobs. With due respect to them, I believe that they are going there and doing some menial work and getting some money, and they are trying to stay back there. What can we do to instill or motivate our students to get quality education and stay back in Kerala? Otherwise, we the parents will get
That's what I was answering to the young lady. And then the other area that I mentioned is to improve job opportunities here by opening up the space to investment. So we really have to create very many more possibilities for our people. One of the shocking things in Kerala is we have the second highest rates of youth unemployment in the whole of India. Highest is Kashmir, where there's a militancy going on. Second highest is Kerala.